Well, hello and welcome back to season 2 of Little State Big Voices with my fabulous co-host Tracy and myself, Shahida. How are you?
I am good. Hey, y'all.
We are happy to be back. Happy fall, everyone. It is what fall is, that transition and change season, and we're hoping to transition and change into a even more fabulous podcast than what we were season 1. Even though, like Tracy pointed out in our little clip last week, that we were fabulous from the jump. So,
We really, I'm saying we came out the gate hot.
Mhm.
It's not us saying that. That's what the people say. So
Yeah, not like Donald Trump when he says, people are saying, actual people are saying, not made up people. The
oh
people in
my
his head,
goodness.
actual people are saying this.
Right.
So,
This is confirmed. We we
mhm,
we won an award last season.
mhm.
People showed up. We got thunderous applause. We actually got uh two accolades last season for our podcast. We were asked to be on some panels. We were dubbed Women in Media. I mean, for a first season podcast, that was strong and we're very proud.
And very pleased to see so many people who are in Rhode Island really tuning in because we really do this for, our state, our city where we live because we really love being here and we're going to reaffirm that with this season as well.
Absolutely.
So today we have a special guest. Her name is Nicole Tingle. We did a taped interview with her, and we're gonna plug that in a little bit. But she is the second chair president,
She's the second vice president.
second vice president. I don't know why I always want to say second chair. She's the second
Or
vice
was she the
president
first
of the
vice president?
NAACP, and she's running for president of the NAACP. And we were, very honored to have her on our podcast. It was a very interesting conversation. She gave us a lot of information about the changes and the new direction that she wants to specifically take the NAACP. And that kind of folds into, the changes and the directions that we see in ourselves. Like we said, fall represents that transitional period, that change and a little bit of a mind reset, just like the first of the year. So, Tracy, do you have anything that you specifically are kind of like, looking forward to as far as like transition or reawakening that you might have during this time of the year?
Yeah, so this is something that's been building for me for a few years now because I'm ready to hit a milestone birthday next year. So with that in mind, I'm ready to enter my soft life era. People talk about that. It sounds like maybe it's a pipe dream for a lot of people, but I'm very serious about entering my soft era. And what comes with that is for me, so the transitions, if I had to pick three, would be like prioritizing things in life, so not only prioritizing the things I do or, how I spend money, but my feelings and myself
Mm-hmm.
in a way that's not selfish to others, but that is loving for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes sacrifice, actually. It means saying no to things that I would normally say yes to. And it means saying yes to things I would normally say no to.
I
So
love that.
that's one. The second one I would say is that for a transition, I'm also purging. I'm getting into a phase where I'm like getting rid of stuff. I discovered that you can donate things to Savers, your local Savers thrift store. And the one here in Providence is like a main hub. You can drive your car right in
Mm-hmm.
and they come
Been
out with
there
these
many
big
times.
bins and they help you unload all the stuff. I was like flabbergasted. I went there with so much stuff. So I'm purging and I'm also working on not adding more than I need.
Mm-hmm.
So like getting rid of excess and that's metaphorical and that's also like in real in reality. And then I guess the third transition is just that I'm working on my health, because that's another thing coming with the milestone birthday. We heard from when we were talking to a woman who's very celebrated in the literary community. We asked her, because she's over 50, what's one bit of advice you give women over 50? And she said, focus on your health, because that's going to be your biggest expense in the second half of your life. So I'm really trying to focus on what I consume, and that's the air I breathe, the food I eat, the things I drink, all of it, like, and mentally what I take in. So those are my three things. What about you?
I love that. I love all of that, especially the first one. Going in, trying to prepare for your soft life era. I love that
Yeah.
because I think I've been preparing for that myself, although it has not been at the forefront of my mind, but definitely has been in my mind. But for me, especially fall, it seems like I kind of think and go through the same things. Creativity. I like to write, and read, and for whatever reason, the fall allows me myself to just kind of like sit and enjoy those things. Whereas summer, I'm running, 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 and I'm not making time for that. The fall allows me to make time for that, because the days are shorter. I'm home a lot more, which I enjoy. That's one. So creativity, writing, reading, even, and I like what you said too about consumption. I'm really trying to scale back on the things that I take in because I feel like my mind, especially in the summer, I just am just noise all the time, whether it be TV, and which I love because I'm not giving up TV and movies. I love podcasts, which I love. I have two. But the the consistency of not having quiet time. And I think I learned that when we had Rav as a guest here, the yoganista. She has shown me, and even through conversation that I've had with her, that a lot of my piece depends on cutting out noise. So
Hmm.
that's part of it. So the creativity and all that is together. My home in the fall, I get more creative in my home, like what I want, what colors I want, what decorations I want, the idea of changing everything around. Like I've already changed my living room completely around. I've changed my bedroom around twice already, trying to figure where I want it to be for the winter months. I do it every fall for whatever reason. And it's not even that I consciously pick. It's just like my body's ready for that. Ready for
Hmm.
that. Ready for that type of change. So I'm kind of working on that. I'm redoing my kitchen this year, which I said I was gonna start this year, and fall is that time to kind of like I'm gutting it, redoing it, or whatever, and that's a project. That's a project.
Yes,
But
kitchens are, but that's good. I think that, plus if it's warm weather, you're more obliged to drag it out. But when that snow is about to hit, you're like, let me get this kitchen moving.
and because you're in the house, it's easier because it's colder, and you're like, what? I have these projects. Let me just go ahead and get them done now,
Hmm.
and that's the way I'm feeling. So I'm excited about that. Better Homes and Garden, they're like, girl, you have logged on to our site like 500 times a day. Yes, yes, I love it. The other thing for me is, I would say, community involvement. That's
Hmm.
I'm consistently always trying to find ways where I can be more involved because I feel like I try. I feel like I've always tried. And I think in the fall, it has always made me more aware of what not only do I want for myself, but as a community. Last year, I joined the Rhode Island Coalition of Black Women, which I have worked, very hard with over the past year. And I joined the NAACP. And I will man, I haven't worked as much with the NAACP. I felt like their communication was not the greatest until Nicole got involved. She's been involved for a long time, but I think this is her first time in the senior office where, she has a little bit more control. And honestly, the communication since she has taken over has been top tier. So I'm actually looking more forward to working with the NAACP and getting you to join these two groups that I've been begging you for the last. I'm
So
putting you
put me
on the
on the
spot.
spot. But here's the thing. This goes along with what we just talked about,
Hmm.
prioritizing. So I'm one of those people where if I join an organization, I want to bring my full self. I don't want to spread myself too thin. So this year,
Exactly.
I'm
Okay.
on a couple
Now I
of
feel like shit.
boards. I got a couple of projects happening. I was a little
Hmm.
bit down and out for medical reasons this year. So next year, I think some of my commitments are going to free up because I'm not necessarily continuing everything that I'm doing this year, next year. So I don't believe in showing up to things just to say I'm part of
Okay.
this group, I'm a member, I'm on the board, I'm this and that, because I don't like that. I'm actually on uh I'm in a situation right now where I'm on a committee and I feel like people are there for their resume, not for the actual commitment to the
Hmm.
effort itself, and that pisses me off. So
Hmm.
if I show up, I'm gonna show up guns blazing. So
Hmm.
2025, y'all will see me. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay. And how wrong of me not to know that or acknowledge that when you just said, and I'm like, oh, I love that. Prioritizing for yourself because you do. I mean, just because, and that's one thing I'm saying, just because you are part of an organization doesn't mean that you are not a leader or forefront in your community, because you actually do a lot and way more than we actually mention here, because you have a couple of events that I'm just like, I'm so impressed. I'm not gonna leak it. We're gonna tell it when you're
Yes,
ready.
to be
But
announced. But yeah,
mhm,
we got things. I got a couple things, a few burners going. So I'm gonna sunset some activities that I'm doing. I'm gonna also rev up other activities that I'm doing. For example, TEDx Roxbury. We're circling back. We're about to start that again. Applications are actually gonna be open soon for that. So there's some things that I'm passionate about that I'm gonna continue to proceed with, and I'm definitely going to be adding NAACP and the coalition as well to my roster. But I think this year what I learned is that I wanted to do all these things, and sometimes you can be doing too much. And like I said, I want to bring my full self to anything I do. I don't want to just be half-assing anything that I do. So that's the reason. That's the only reason I've been kind of like dragging my feet a little bit. I want to make
mhm.
sure that I give the proper commitment.
Okay, I totally respect that, but I also respect your right to say no.
The, that part too. But here's the thing: if I wasn't interested, I would straight. So now I'm at the point in life where I'm just gonna be like, Shahida, thank you for inviting me to that. However, I'm unable to
Mhm.
participate right now, which is kind of what I just did right now.
Mhm.
So I did say no, but it's kind of like a until then.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good lesson that we all have to learn it, which I just learned it just now, because I have not only been like pushing you, but other people as well. Join, join, join. And they haven't, because they have certain things going on. But you know what? You ask once, maybe twice, and then leave it alone. Because people set boundaries for themselves. And in that moment, I just learned that even unintentionally, you could be disrespecting what boundary that person set for themselves by asking more than once, or you know what I'm saying? I said I put
Well,
you on
some people
blast
need
in a
that push
playful
though.
way.
Some
They
people, some
do.
people do, but I agree
Mhm.
with you. Like, you don't
Mhm.
want to be you don't want to like. I'm a strong believer. People will do what they want to do,
Exactly.
regardless. So I've also been learning that lesson. Like, if I mention something a couple of times and the person's not receptive, I will fall back, and I don't take the other part of that. I think a lot of people neglect is not to take it personally, because I think some people start getting in their feelings like, I
Mhm.
told da da da. You, like you said, you don't know what boundaries this person set. You don't know what this person is going through at this moment. Like sometimes I'm on the screen, I'm looking hella good from the waist up, but my legs wasn't working. You know what I'm saying? So there are times that you don't really know, you don't get the full picture, to use a
Mhm.
little bit of a metaphor. But I think that again, as I hit this next level, this next decade, I'm saying to myself that I have to think about myself and I have to think about others. And sometimes saying yes to everything is actually the selfish thing.
Agree 100%. 100%, because if you say yes and you don't really have the time for it or even the passion and as
Hmm.
much as you thought you did for something, and then you go into something, and I always tell my kids, don't half-ass anything. And you go into these organizations, and sometimes people have like an organization, they have like 500 members, but then every week there's like maybe 3 or 4 people that actually show up for the meeting. So where are the 490 people, 495 people? Where are you week to week? And then, when there's a big gala or something at the end, then those people show up. That's not really
And that's real talk.
membership.
That is real talk. I can attest to situations like that. And if they can lay their head down at night, especially if it's a charitable organization or a civic organization, and you're not giving all that you can give, or at least enough, I
Mhm.
think that right there is, you should move aside and let someone who really wants to do it do it.
So, yeah, we have that. So today is Monday,
It is.
and it is a holiday,
It's a day off from work. Yes.
right? But I mean, it could be a holiday for indigenous people
They didn't ask for
who
that.
who
They
celebrate who
did not
celebrate
ask for that.
no, they asked for way more, but they got Indigenous Day, which
Right.
honestly, I think they should have changed it to Indigenous Day from Christopher Columbus Day.
So I have a thought on all of this.
Go girl.
We live in America.
Mhm.
Americans are worked to death. If we were in Europe, we'd be getting 5 weeks vacation every
Mhm.
year and nobody would bat an eyelash. If you walk in the office 5 minutes late, no one's jumping down your throat. We live in a society, and Europe is just as capitalistic as we are. So it's not even about the money.
Exactly.
We
Mhm.
are worked to freaking death. So people invented these days, these long weekends to get a freaking break, and then they named them after the wrong people. Just
Mhm.
cut the freaking name in it after. Take away the president. We ain't got to honor the presidents. We know who they are. We don't got to honor Columbus. He didn't discover anything. A lot of these things
And
are
he was a
just
horrible, horrible human
contrived.
being.
Just say you have the first weekend, and we don't have to call it after anybody. And the reason it's out here, indigenous people, and I love my indigenous people, don't get
Mhm.
me wrong, I descend from some indigenous people, but that was a pivot to try to correct the Columbus situation.
Mhm.
Like I said, they didn't ask for that. Just say we work the shit out of ourselves as Americans. We're going to take that. Let's just take the first Monday of every month off. How about
Mhm.
that?
That could be it too. I'm a little bit different.
Okay. Let's I like a different perspective.
Well, my thing is, I do like the idea of celebrating certain things in certain cultures and having a day for that, or a month for that, or however you want to put it. Columbus Day, that was more of a political move for, I want to say that I don't know which administration it was, to appease the Italians who were here, who were treated like black people are.
Hmm.
And that was a way to recognize their heritage, even though it was all based on a lie. My problem with Columbus Day is specifically that it is based on a lie, and it goes back to me, how America has corrupted history or softened history to make people feel better instead of telling the absolute truth. We were in kindergarten and in the first grade singing the song about the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, and that was a lie. He did not discover America, and he was a brutal human being. What he did to the people that to in the spaces that he landed in, including here in the Caribbean, is horrific. It's
Mhm.
horrific. And any Italian American should not look for him as a hero. I'm pretty sure there are many in your culture who would better represent who you are as a people than this person. So I do like, these holidays. I do like the recognition of certain things, but I agree with you wholeheartedly is that most of our holidays in America are for the wrong people,
Mhm.
for wrong things that they stood for. Now, do I expect every man to be a saint? No, because humans are humans are humans. But people who, you know, um, treat other human beings like slaves or like cattle or less than human or not American or whatever kind of category that you would dehumanize someone. No, they should not be celebrated. Acknowledge their accomplishments, acknowledge what they have done. That's enough. But like a day, no, I don't think so. And I think that would be kind of hard because even the people that we admire, there are things like my hero in life is Malcolm X.
Mhm.
There is a Malcolm X Day, but somebody else can say, but at one point in his life he was a thief or whatever. But look at how he turned it around, and it wasn't like he changed himself from a bad man to a good man who still did bad things. He told the truth once he accepted Islam. Then you have somebody that says, well, what about Martin Luther King? He cheated on his wife. He succumbed to his, passions or lust or whatever. Very true. So you do have to take the good and the bad with, certain heroes, but let's not lie about somebody as clear and evident as a Christopher Columbus because he did not do what you said he did. So
Well,
that's my view.
so let's think about this logically too, right? We
Mhm.
have these holidays, right? They're set in stone. Honestly, the same way we pull those statues down, we could pull these holidays down and
Mhm.
revamp them to something else. Now, don't get me wrong, I still want my day off. I still want, for people
I
who get
definitely
time and
want
a
my day
half,
off.
I want you to get time and a half, a triple time or whatever on that holiday. But just statistically, there are we have so many millions and billions of years of history. Are we not going to have new people that are going to deserve new days? Like, it's just kind of silly to use a person or an event to mark a holiday for the simple fact that history continues. New things are going to happen, new accomplishments are going to happen. Are we going to have when we have Kamala as president, are we going to have a Kamala Harris? It's kind of dumb to just keep naming holidays after people and events. History will continue. We're going to run out of day. We only have so many days in a calendar year. I say we just call it, give us a long weekend every freaking month, because really, who is observing these holidays? The people who are working. We look forward to that little 3-day holiday. We
Mhm.
may take our kids on vacation or something like that. We're not sitting up there doing a whole soliloquy with the family on Christopher Columbus or the indigenous Indian. Like, no matter what you call it, people are going to the mall or they're going
Well,
on
we have
vacation.
festivals and parades and stuff in certain people's art, and I like some of those traditional things. I really do.
Yeah.
But I do definitely get and understand what you're saying because then again, from what I'm saying, then you have to go through like people's histories and you're cherry picking.
And let's be
Whereas if you just
real.
have a
Let's
general
be
time
real.
off.
The indigenous people have done some shit too.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
again, it's like, let's just stop this.
Yeah. So I do not mind the holidays. Tracy does not want it to be named after anything. She just wants the day.
Just give me
And
the
I get
time
it.
off to do what I want to do. I love you, indigenous people. Like I said, I'm not saying nothing crazy, but I'm just saying, if we want to talk history, indigenous people, Native Americans in America held slaves.
Hmm.
Should we celebrate that? It's so broad. It's just so it was a band-aid that was put on to fix Columbus Day, and I just feel like it was just a PC move that, Let's
It
just
definitely was a PC move.
October celebration.
But it also, to me, it reflects a growth in the country. I know you say it is just a band-aid, and it was a PC move or whatever, because at the end of the day, you still took away these people's land that we're still on,
Yeah,
that
no,
we
that
still benefit
was
from, and you haven't
cruel.
given
Yeah.
them the resources that every American enjoys. And when I say that, like, they can't do certain things on their reservations to make, money, which is insane. So they're not totally
And
free, in
I'm
my
talking
opinion.
crazy on their land right now. So I'm just
Exactly.
saying, it's all very complicated. It's all very complex. Nothing that happened, none of the
Hmm.
atrocities were deserved. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But no atrocities done to any peoples are deserved. So it's just, I get what they were trying to do with it. And I think at the time that it was brought up, it was a turning point. And we're in a tipping point right now,
Hmm.
especially in our country, maybe in our world, but in our country. But also, question: does any other country celebrate Columbus Day other than us?
Oh no, I don't think and I don't think Italy does, but they might. I don't know. That would be something
We need to go to the
to
Googles. I need to find
Google.
out. But even the fact that we call him Christopher Columbus, that is not Italian. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Is
there's
what?
so much mess. Like that's been anglicized.
Yeah, Americanized, I would say, because I don't think it's typical to just America, but because I just lived here and I know how history is, and I know we all know that it was only given to them as a political appeasement because of how they were treated. Just like, we were given MLK Day because it was a political appeasement for the atrocities that I rather you work on,
Yeah.
police brutality than
Right.
Martin.
Work on legislature. Give us our 40 acres and a mule.
Hmm.
Bump us all to 750 credit scores. Like do something. That's give us something real, something
Hmm.
tangible.
Do other countries celebrate? A number of nations celebrate this holiday. They call it Discovery Day in the Bahamas and Colombia. So I'm surprised. Hispanic Day in Spain. So it's the same type of holiday, but named a little bit differently, which is weird. So Bahamas, I'm surprised at. I get Colombia to a point.
I
And
guess it was
Spain,
named after him, no?
yeah. So and Spain, so only those three. So no other countries.
Not Italy.
I do.
Not on the list.
Not they were not on the list. So anyway, but that's
And these are my opinions.
yeah.
I respect people thinking whatever they want. If people want to go all out and go to Target and get their Columbus Day decorations,
Are there Columbus Day?
no, that's what I'm saying. It's fake.
That's funny. But yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But on that note, we will kind of slide into Nicole Tingle's interview, and we will see you on the other side.
See you then.
Well, hello and welcome back. And we're here with Nicole Tingle. She's the first vice president of the NAACP, and she has agreed to join us this week to talk about the NAACP membership drive, women in leadership. She is also you're running for the president of the NAACP in Providence, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. So, Nicole, tell us a little bit about yourself and the NAACP Providence.
Sure. First and foremost, thanks for having me on the podcast. I am a born and raised Providence, Rhode Islander. Throughout the I went to public schools in Providence K through 8. My mother and my sister, we all then relocated to East Providence, and I attended East Providence High School. So I'm a townie. I graduated from East Providence High, transitioned to Temple University as a first generation college student. And through my experience there, I was able to have an interesting journey. going through Temple University, Go Owls, media studies and production bachelor's recipient I've earned. And after that journey in undergrad, I did transition back to Rhode Island and started my career in nonprofit work with a number of organizations, including Year Up, which is a national workforce development program connecting adults to corporate internships and opportunities to make a livable wage. And I also worked with United Way of Rhode Island in the communications team there. And I've also, when I was in undergrad, so going back a little bit, I also was able to serve as a New York Times collegiate events coordinator, which pretty much was an ambassador. So I've had a number of touch points with the nonprofits, and I do have that communications, media studies background. And what led me to the NAACP Providence branch, I throughout my time going through K through 8, learning about Black history, seeing mentions of NAACP, hearing about Rosa Parks and the Montgomery boycott, learning a bit with my mother about like Thurgood Marshall and going to the libraries, community libraries growing up. I was able to do a lot of reading. And so just seeing different touch points of the NAACP, and also my family has been touch points with the local NAACP Providence branch's legal redress team to help us with some advocacy work around housing and education. That's what really drives me to do the work that I do now. I was invited to a meeting by the former president of the NAACP Providence branch, Jim Vincent, many of them know as Jim, to join to the NAACP, be a resource. And that's what really kicked off my involvement locally. And it just took off from me.
Impressive resume.
Definitely.
Impressive resume. I don't even want to ask how old you are. I know you're young.
So and ask this question because it actually came to me. Is so from the time you finished up at Temple to when you started at the NAACP, like kind of walk us through that transition because you did a lot of interesting things in between there. Media communications, and you have some really great buzz companies on your resume. What led you there, and like what was the time frame between college and NAACP?
Yeah, so interesting. Great question. I'll try to be as concise as possible because it was a long journey for my undergrad years. Going to Temple University, first and foremost, was the first time that I was in a space where I saw a lot of people that looked like me. At the time, Temple was one of the most diverse schools in the nation, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to go. But also with that, a lot of excitement around like the opportunity to socialize with a lot of folks that I came from, not only Philadelphia, quite frankly, within the tri-state area. And also, I was trying to find my way as the first college generation student. So I did take some time off for a few years, and I did complete the Year Up program. So I am also a proud alumni of Year Up. And that's where I was able to get a lot of the skills as far as networking, public speaking, how to identify mentors and know the difference between like mentor and sponsor. So my experience going through the year training program really has also helped me to not be as intimidated by title. I've met folks that were VP of Fortune 500 companies and many hats all the way down to those supervisors. So, and just dealing with the folks at Europe and seeing that support that they provide as a network, it really has helped me to then go back to school, be successful as a New York Times ambassador, speak to the dean of the Crime College of Temple University, and actually request support with a lot of the coordinations around the New York Times and getting students involved. And once I did graduate with my degree and coming back to Rhode Island, the whole whole swing of entering my career that year up as a staff at that point, I was really able to, by way of being an external relations coordinator that ran the mentor program for Europe, be able to make a lot of great connections. And with that experience, I actually was able to share spot on Jeff Vincent's show talking about Europe and just getting out a whole bunch of data points about the success and outcomes of Europe. So by him seeing me on the show, interviewing me there, that actually is where he's like, wait a minute, we might need to do NAACP. So that's pretty much my journey in between leading up to the NAACP. So it's been a long road, and with being in an NAACP, I've learned quickly that it was best to just sit and observe and ask questions and not feel that I need to know everything. It's a rich history of 111 years now in Providence alone, but we were founded nationwide in 1909. And you have anyone from entrepreneurs all the way to I'm sure the president of the United States even mentions Joe Biden mentions, hey, I'm an ACP member, you know, so there is a big, large, diverse crowd within the NAACP. And so it was a bit overwhelming at first, quite frankly, to be involved, but I just learned first and foremost to observe and learn and get trained up and then start to take action.
So I know one of your goals is membership for the NAACP. And can you speak to the culture of the NAACP and why it's still needed now, especially in the Providence area? Because I think a lot of people kind of shun groups like the NAACP, like, well, they're not doing much, or they don't see you out there. I mean, a lot of information is that we do have to seek these things ourselves. But give our listeners just a tidbit on why they should join and why it's so important and what the culture of the group is now, and Providence especially.
Yes, great question. Membership. So our saying is membership is the lifeblood of the organization. And NAACP has a rich history, especially in educational advocacy work in Providence. We know that the Providence Public School District is underneath a takeover right now with the state. And because of the amount of respect that many of the elected officials or key decision makers have for an institution like the NAACP and its legacy and honoring its space and itself and the different capacities and roles that we bring, it tends to unlock access to have meetings with the mayor of Providence, with the commissioner or the superintendent of schools to be able to go to the table and say, look, this is our priorities, not only as far as our national agenda, this is how we see it being implemented locally. And these are our stands. And so with the NAACP, we have structure that we bring. And we also have an opportunity to work more formally with local community-based organizations. I feel as though we've had collaborative as far as different events that we would sign on to, but there is an opportunity for us to not have the NAACP come in and overpower efforts of what's happening or put credit. I've heard that as feedback in the past. But how do we, as the NAACP, be able to use our name recognition to amplify the work that's already happening in Providence, happening in the surrounding areas? And that's the benefit of having an organization like the NAACP still in Rhode Island to focus not only on civil rights, but our niche is racial justice work. So with the NAACP, and my goal with NAACP has always been to amplify the voices locally. And if need be, if we need to organize and then make some good trouble on Rhode Island and then build up a picture that we're having our voices on the national stage, that's where the NAACP can come in. We have a national convention, for instance. We have the NAACP Image Awards. NAACP members who deepen their involvement and get involved with our governance, and also get involved with like the Hollywood Bureau. For the NAACP, there's a lot of opportunities to do so. So I would say, A, plugging into a national organization, a lot of opportunities that NAACP offer, but B, locally leveraging the power of NAACP to amplify the work and move more swiftly.
So you mentioned membership being the lifeblood of the organization. What's the youngest member? Like, what's the age you can start to join the NAACP? And then, with that said, what efforts are being made to kind of do an upflow so that you have maybe some youth getting involved and then being able to stream up to membership? Because I think that if you can get into the community and get young people civically involved earlier, the more likelihood you are to have good, strong membership and actual actions behind the processes. So talk to us about membership, like the entry level, and then what the youth programs are like.
Yeah, it's great. I love that membership. So as far as how young, the youngest member that I've seen in our youth college division, we have the youngest member at 3 years old, and then we have folks
3 years
who were
old?
born in 3.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Because we do have a youth and college division
Mm-hmm.
as well. So there's a lot of opportunity. And we have done programming as far as read-alongs during my tenure. And we're looking to expand a lot of the youth programming as well. So as young as 3. But also we have a number of NAACPers throughout New England and hopefully throughout our region that were born into the NAACP. It's just something that many families have as a tradition, just like finding a church home. You also let them say you find an ACP unit that you can join and become a member. So that's really as far as the starting point is just taking out a membership, getting plugged into your local unit. I know in Rhode Island we have the Providence branch, we have Newport, which most people are like, oh, we have 2 different units. Yes, we do. And from there, it's just like any opportunity, it's whatever you make it. So that could be simply becoming a member and being a college student. So hey, I want to be eligible for a scholarship. And being able to proactively be a member and plug in, know about town halls that are happening in national office, being able to have voting rights, to make key decisions on what programs, what different legislative policies that we'll advocate for locally and let your voice be heard. You'll have that right as a member. There's also onboarding benefits implemented for members. I previously served as secretary for 2 terms. Each term is 2 years. So before being first vice president, I implemented a number of structural systems and whatnot. And one of them was a membership orientation to bring members to let them know who's currently in leadership, local level, national level, the different benefits and opportunities, and getting to know members. So there's a lot of benefits. Even for entrepreneurs, at times there's grants that our national office provides. And one vision that I have is to continue to build more touch points and more incentives locally for our members. For instance, we recently had a membership fee at Blackleaf Tea and Culture Shop. And that was, to my understanding, the first of its kind for the province for recent years. I have in mind a membership reception that we do for our members and also our life members that we have on an annual basis as also another opportunity for folks to network and to share space. We have a number of opportunities to have members come in and join a committee. There can be over 20 committees that are in our bylaws that can sit up at any time, and the real work happens within the committees. And really, it's not about reinventing the wheel. To me, it's about connecting with organizations like the Economic Policy Institute, Kids Count, ACLU, and really have strategic partnership with members of your organization, your staff, and have MOUs where we can just simply make sure that you're into the NAACP in a way that is strategic and that we can not reinvent the wheel, but also in a way that once the national NAACP convention comes around each year, we can have a robust list of resolutions that we're ready to support and that we're even ready to write and submit for the national convention, have a stronger delegation for our members that we have our delegation is here, our change and influence we can have within the association. And the NAACP is known for having a worldwide influence on democracy. So that is really just a high level overview as far as my vision for where membership should go with NAACP and the power of it, but also some of the foundational pieces locally that we've been working through. As president, I just hope that I can really continue to connect with other leaders in spaces and make more formalized partnerships, and then be able to bring us all together when we need more swiftly to to make the show.
I love that. I love your initiatives, and I love the youthfulness that you are bringing. I feel like that new blood is what's needed, and not just Rhode Island and NAACP, but all, because again, it doesn't, NAAC has a reputation for being great for the community and nationally, but I feel like on the ground, people don't get that message, and that it needs to be, more vocally, or active, or, more participation in the kind of programs that you're talking about and the kind of initiatives that you're talking about to bring people together. That sounds like great. Like, the membership, luncheon, or that's great, because I've been a member, but haven't felt engaged, the communication. And honestly, since you have stepped up and been involved, I have gotten all the communications where I wasn't before. So you said that you're running for president. Are you running unopposed? Are there, anybody else, in line for that? And also tell us about how you feel about being such a young woman and such a leadership that's really it's statewide, but it's national as well, running the office for the NAACP in Rhode Island or Providence.
Yes. So as of now, I've seen only one other public announcement, and that was LaWan Allen in the Boston Globe mentioned that he was interested in um, running for that seat. But that was earlier this year, way before our actual process had actually kicked off. So for the Providence branch, every even number year for local units, there's a unit election. You have to be a member of the organization before May 1st and have a continuous membership leading up to the actual election, no breaks. And I announced on social media, and I sent some emails to some of my supporters sharing my decision. But as of now, we never know who else is going to declare into later on this month. So we're still within the elections process. But I will say that for me, regardless of what happens with the election, I'm very committed as a life member of the NAACP to be able to continue to apply pressure for us to get this much needed work done. For instance, continuing to streamline communication and making sure that the communications are high quality, continuing with our community outreach. Ever since I've joined, I noticed there was an opportunity beyond just the speaking on the stage at different events, especially festivals. I said, wait a minute, the NAACP, we need a table. We need material. We need volunteers to actually work the crowd. And so we were able to scale that up and build upon our outreach in the community and make sure we're tabling. We also have been able to scale and do now phone banking and text banking. And we're also gearing up this weekend with Day of Canvassing. So we're really trying to take it back to the basics and do more of the boots on the ground and really just connecting with the community, letting them know that we're here, and also and sharing specifically what it means to be with the NAACP as a member, but also hearing from them what issues matter the most. So that way you can inform our policy. So I'm committed to the work. I just know that we can move more swiftly because of my experience my training that I've had through our Next Gen Leadership program, and my proven ability to successfully implement different pilot programs. And now I just want to scale that those programs and make sustainable.
Love that. So, I mean, you said a few things that kind of sent little sparks off in my head. So, I think, when we talk about being boots on the ground, canvassing, I think that's really important. So, Shahida and I are both transplants from Massachusetts. So, we're just a sister state away. But what I found is that the Black experience seems to be it's unique in its own right here in Providence. It's a great experience. It's just different, and I think that you know this is going to be very vital to you all growing. And I appreciate that you're going to be doing more exposure, because Shahida's the one that told me about NAACP, the local branch and chapter here. And then when the pandemic happened and when George Floyd happened, I saw you all more on the news. But then again, it's been kind of a lull. And so because I have a friend who's involved, and I think that's going to be it, is your members, your tried and true members spreading the word. So, we are gearing up for more politics in the next 30 days. So not even. So, of course, we want to definitely talk to you about, what's going on. Like, what are y'all doing in the realm of voter registration, getting folks like engaged with voting? What does that look like from your And on that too, I just want to ask the question that you can answer with Tracy's. Does the NAACP nationally endorse a candidate? And if so, who did they endorse?
Okay. I will start that and work backwards. So the NAACP is a 501c3 on a national level, and then our units are 501c4 units. So we do not endorse candidates. But like our national president says and CEO says, I'm paraphrasing here, but we're nonpartisan, but we're very political. So and even in our mission, political advancement is our mission. So when it comes to the candidates, there has been more of presidential candidates, for instance, at our national conventions. And so we would invite all because we're nonpartisan, right? So there's historically been that to provide that platform that stays focused on voter education. And then interestingly, in one of our past conventions, we called for the impeachment of Donald Trump.
You did that?
Yes, we have. So
Thank you.
I was actually in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
So there's across our nation, there's all of our NAACP delegates meet again at our annual convention each year. And during our resolutions plenary sessions, there is a number of resolutions that us as delegates and our members submit. And then there's also like emergency resolution from the national board they put onto the floor as well. And that was one of the emergency resolutions for what I can recall, call for his impeachment, amongst many other efforts that are available to view on our national NAACP.org website. So I'll just put that there. So we do tend to take positions as far as if we feel that the policies or rhetoric from any candidate, no matter what their racial background is, we feel like it is going to be harm to brown people in our nation and our communities, and I think historically you can and sometimes strong is one way or another. Yes, as far as we don't endorse, but we will sometimes make strong stances one way or another as relates to this maybe or the danger, if you will, of maybe having certain folks who are maybe not as qualified as me think, maybe arguably, when it comes to certain candidates. So that we also had Vice President Kamala Harris speak at our conventions, along with President Biden has also spoke at some of our conventions as well. But I know that there has been a rapport, from my understanding, with the national president and the different Congress folks, and so the national office takes care of like federal whereas we have our state conferences, the state jurisdictions, or anyone in our Rhode Island Assembly is technically within our state conference. And then the NAACP, we province branch, we're municipal level. So anything around like the mayor, city council, commissioners, that is our jurisdiction. And locally, we have met with our mayors and our candidates. We've met with Mayor Brett Smiley in the past. We've met with Mayor Alorazon, I'm sure many others. We've met with Commissioner State Green in the past. And even in our surrounding area, we recently met with Superintendent Patricia Royale, because we have received some legal redress inquiries and concerns, and she is a Black woman in leadership. So we wanted to make sure we checked in here firsthand for her about her experience, her successes, and challenges. So as far as the candidates and folks in these elected positions or appointed positions, we have had locally, I would say, ongoing conversations, but federally, national office has taken some strong stances. Now, with the elections coming up, we had voter education sessions at a number of community libraries throughout Providence. That was our pilot for that, and overall, we've had success. Providence, the Board of Canvassers were in questions from community members and also NAACP members. It also ended up being a great opportunity for NAACP members to share their input on polling locations and other items as it relates to the election. And so it was a really great educational session, but also a great think tank to have conversations with the Providence Board of Canvassers and see how we can partner. So we are advocating or urging, people to register to vote. Still, even if you're looking to miss the deadline, please register to vote because you can become a poll worker for the upcoming election. So we're all pushing for that. And now Rhode Island 16 is the age to register, while 18 is the age where you can register to actually vote. So
That's
that means
important.
now to work polls, become poll workers on election. We've advocated and been pushing for folks to do that.
I am a poll worker.
Yeah.
I'm a clerk in North Providence.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We need more people like you, Shahida, and to show up and make sure that the um, elections continue to be accessible and for folks that choose to go on election day. Which I still hear many people, even though we have now mail ballot applications and early voting as methods, of many people I speak to still want to go on election day because it's a tradition. But another initiative that I've worked on in the past has been advocating for voter access and still continue to advocate for voter access at the state house. The NAACP Providence branch is amongst 30 other organizations that's a part of a coalition called the Rhode Island Voter Access Coalition. And we are continuing to push for same-day registration to be a resolution considered on the ballot in a future election, where violent voters can decide if we have same-day registration for the full ballot. Right now, same-day registration is only for the U.S. President and vice president ticket only. However, we, again, as believers in voter access, and it's also in alignment with our national policy stance, is that we believe that same-day registration should be a full ballot. As long as you can prove that you're a Rhode Island resident, why restrict it to just president, vice presidency ticket? So that's something that we are also continuing to advocate for. And voter access, voter rights, voter mobilization, one of the key issues that actually brought me to the NAACP with it being a civil rights organization. So we have a number of initiatives. We also, the current president is Jawad Zikala. He has actually spearheaded our initiative to go to different churches, speak with the congregations, have voter registration, talk about different amendments, things of that nature. So we've been to Ebenezer Baptist Church and also Shiloh Gospel Temple. For me, I just want to make sure that continuing to build up a legacy those who have certain leadership, making sure that we're continuing to fight forward and keep our legacy alive as well.
Well, I think you're doing a fabulous job. Thank you very much for joining us. I feel like we've learned so much today.
Oh, like I learned, I was today years old when I learned that you could same day register for the presidential election. Out today years old. And I get the feeling we'll have listeners too that maybe said, you know what, I missed the opportunity to register. I'm not even going to bother. So that right there can be so key to this
Yes.
decision. I learned that you can register to vote at 16 in the state of Rhode Island. I mean, there's a lot of that I'm taking in, and I'm so grateful that you came here to share this with us. It's going to make a big difference.
I feel you probably need to come back, maybe
Yeah.
after election, and just definitely after you win. I'm rejoining, definitely rejoining the NAACP because I have enjoyed working with you, and I do know that you are a go-getter and you're really out there trying to make a difference. So we all need to support that, and I hope that our listeners are paying attention. And it's just one way to get involved. It's not going to take up all of your time, but pick a group or a cause and work towards that, because everybody can't work on everything, but we need people like you to help spearhead where they actually can work and succeed. So again, thank you very much for being our guest, and we hope to talk to you very soon, Nicole.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, have a great one.
Well, welcome back. I hope that you enjoyed that conversation with Nicole Tingle. That was a lot of information. I'm impressed. I think I said it in there, like she's a very young woman, and I think that's a lot of what we need going forward is young people getting involved in not only like community activism, but in politics, everything. And she definitely exemplifies a lot of the characteristics that we need to see going forward in the community.
For sure. I mean, I learned a lot. She taught me a lot about the NAACP's commitment to young people. That's something I think that should be spotlighted because a lot of our issues stem from people trying to fix things in adulthood. If we raise a child the way they should go, we'll be better off. So if we start them young with activism, civic engagement, things like that, and just self-worth and that pride, things like that.
Mhm.
I think it's good. Not everyone's going to come out and be a political leader, but it's good to know how to advocate for yourself. And I think that starts young. I learned a lot about, voting and, that you can register the same day to vote in a presidential election. Nicole definitely provided lots of information, and I think she'd be great in that position.
Oh, I definitely think so as well. And so we hope to support her. I am actually renewing my membership to the NAACP, and I hope to be more involved going forward in their events. So if you are interested, please go to NAACP.org. Look up the Providence branch. They are. I mean, of course, they accept membership all the time, and I think they're going to start a membership drive coming up soon. But just go online and check out their mission, read about them, different committees that you could join and benefit from, because not everybody's going to join an organization and fit into everything. That's when you have to learn to say, no, I work better in this department than I do in that one. So it was very interesting. And again, thank you, Nicole, for spending that time with us and giving us all that information. And we look forward to speaking to you again.
Absolutely. And we'll post some information on our social media. So you can definitely look for that on our Instagram, our Facebook, our TikTok while it lasts. We'll be sharing that information about how to connect with your local NAACP.
All right. And so until next time, we hope to see you next week and hopefully have a very special guest. I'm going to keep it mum for now.
Yes.
Hope
This
everything
we're
goes
not
great this week.
playing. We are not playing season 2. We got big names.
But we will announce it by Friday because we want to make sure let you guys tune in next Monday. So you will know who that person is, but it's going to be, we'll announce it this week. So until next time, have a great week and enjoy the rest of this Monday,
Until then,
whatever you
happy
choose to
fall.
call it. Enjoy the day off.